Hi, I'm Lovoni.
And I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Lovoni and Sarah podcast. Today, Lovoni and I are chatting about patience as it pertains to losing weight and getting healthier. When it comes to losing weight, we want immediate results just as much as the next person. Patience and perseverance allow you to reach your weight loss goals with certainty. Without these two qualities, progress can stall and keeping focused on your goal feels daunting. It's tempting to give up. How do Lovoni and I keep our impatience in check? But first, let's talk about our goals from this past week. Lovoni, what was your goal and how did you do?
Well, my goal was losing the weight that I thought I put on when I was away, but apparently I hadn't put it on. I'd actually lost 1.2 pounds, so yeah.
That is very, very good considering you were on the road.
Yeah. And then I was, worried. I mean, that's over 2 weeks. Not great, but I didn't gain.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I was quite chuffed about that. So what about you? How'd you do? What was it again?
Was getting the
prep? Yeah. Because last week was preparation for those that haven't listened. You need to.
So my meal choices went well and I prepped, but kind of for one day at a time. So I didn't really do the goal in the way that I wanted it to do because I wanted to make little snack boxes, almost bento style boxes and all that sort of thing. I didn't get to do that. But what I did do is make sure that I focused on each day and made sure I knew what I was going to have for that day. So it went well as far as that was concerned, but it wasn't quite exactly what I had in mind. So I still intend to do that. I want to get some snack boxes prepared and ready for the fridge so that it's just easy to pick something up when I get really hungry rather than having to make that thought about what is my snack, my healthy snack.
Right, yeah. I find when I do some prep and at least know what I'm going to have the next day, that makes such a difference for me just to keep on track rather than...
I've been doing that thing again of like I sort of described before, of making the plan of what my evening meal... I do it in the morning.
Right.
Okay, what's my evening meal going to be?
You work backwards.
Yeah. Normally it's because I've got stuff prepared, as in ingredients prepared in the fridge. If I haven't, at least I know that during the day I've got to go and get something, drive down to the supermarket and go and get something for the evening, and then I can work back. So that's been working well, but that's what I mean. I've been a little bit day reaction rather than it being a little bit of a longer prep and plan for the whole week. So that's what I'd like to do, is to stretch it out a bit more and then get these snacks ready ahead of time and things as well. So just haven't done that, but I would like to do that. So that's still on my goal list.
That's for me, the best time to do that's like Sunday. Get up in the morning and do things, even things like making a salad dressing. And I know we're not talking about prep, but making a salad dressing, marinating some meat, chopping some veggies, those little things can make such a big difference. Or having like a good sauce, like you were talking about, last week about making curries, like having a good base, curry sauce or something in the freezer, and then you can just put stuff in. I find it just makes such a big difference, those few little things,
like we said, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I did do at the weekend. I did a massive tidy clear up of some of my rooms in the house of jobs that I've wanted to do for ages.
Oh, that's good.
I spent the whole I think I did something like nearly 14,000 steps, and I didn't even actually leave the house.
Wow.
I was sweating cobs. I was because it was really muggy but damp. It was sunny but a little bit of rain outside, so I was boiling. When you're doing stuff, you're just absolutely boiling. But so I made some good progress doing things like that. So I'm at that, still standing there looking at it stage with some of the some of the rooms and things. But so even though that wasn't a goal, that was definite progress that I've made.
It just makes you feel good too.
Oh yeah.
I did the fridge
to get it done.
I did the fridge. I literally took everything out of the fridge. Yeah. You don't realise how much you've got in it till you take everything out.
I have to do that quite regularly because my fridge is a bit broken and it fills up with water in the bottom.
Okay.
So I have to take everything out to give it a good wipe down, get rid of the water.
Right.
So actually, I wouldn't do that if it wasn't for the issue with the fridge situation. But I'm like, oh no, it's filling up again. I've got to get it all out. And it's just got I need to replace it, but I haven't. And while it's still keeping my food cold, I'm just sort of trying to get it to limp on a bit. Right.
I love my fridge, but after I had done it, I kept going and opening the doors because I've got these, like French door things on there,
Yeah.
just admiring how
It looked
nice
really
it was.
super.
And put things in containers, which I think actually take up more space. But when you've got a whole lot of bags and just
You can just see what you've got.
veggies shoved in there, you can't see anything. Plus those containers, I think, keep things fresh longer.
Here's a question for you. I've seen lots of people on Instagram Reels and things washing their fruit or their vegetables in baking soda and then rinsing it off because they say it gets all the little bugs and dirts out and keeps it longer. Does it? Do you do that?
I don't think it keeps it longer. No.
No.
I never wash my.
I've only washed it and.
Right. I'll
I've
wash
never
things
done
like cherries and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but I don't. I mean,
It's that extreme.
no, I don't think it's necessary. But anyway, and I know people wash berries and then put them away, but I don't know. I don't.
Do you not?
Not berries. I wash
go
them.
to use
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I just take out what I'm going to use and then wash those and then use them. So
Yeah.
I don't pre-wash before
That's
I
what
put
I
them into
do.
the fridge.
But things like grapes and cherries, where you tend to just grab, some.
Yes. See what
Those
you're doing.
I wash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, patience. Well, I know neither of us have much. Not when it comes to
No.
losing weight. And
Well, not with anything in life.
No.
I don't. No.
my biggest downfall for me, when I'm, on this, and I've made up my mind I'm going to lose weight, has been in the past where I start to lose a bit and then I think I'll either see something, like, on social media where someone's lost a whole lot of weight through keto or whatever. And even though I've been all right doing what I was doing and losing, I think, oh shit, I'd be better if I did that.
And then you bounce.
So then I bounce around. And that, I think, for me has been one of my biggest downfalls, is doing that and not just staying the course. So this time, that's what I'm doing. Sort of finding out what works for me.
Yeah.
And just hanging with it.
But the difference for me this time and now, now, is that all of my previous experiences have been because I've been what I would class as been on a program, like a diet program.
Right.
So I've got something to follow. So I have to do this, or
Right,
I have to
right.
do that, and there has to be. You would have an expectation of a result within a certain period of time, and you're trying to, let's say, be a stone lighter in a month or whatever it might be.
That's 14 pounds for everybody
14
else.
pounds. Sorry, yeah. So
No.
14 pounds lighter in a month. And then what happens is I think the pressure of that completely sabotages my mindset. So all of a
Right.
sudden, if you do lose a bit, but you're not on target for what you think you should be doing within 4 weeks, you're like, oh, well, I haven't made it. And then it really completely overwhelms me. But right now, because I don't feel like I'm on a program or a diet, as in a diet scheme, I'm changing my lifestyle, and I genuinely am. I'm eating completely differently. I'm not saying it's perfect because I still have days where I crave carbs or sugar and stuff like that. But as a general rule, I'm eating so differently with nutrients in mind and everything that I don't feel that pressure in the same way. So that is helping me towards the patience. That's not to say I'm not impatient because I want to see the results like yesterday. But I think what you were just saying then, I think for me, that's what feels different right now compared to what I've ever done before. I just feel the pressure is off because it's not a program that I'm following. I don't know.
Yeah, it's more about the nutrient-dense food than the actual losing weight. It's health over.
I mean, I want to lose weight, and I still measure that, and I keep that very much in the front of my mind.
Right.
I'm thrilled when I'm getting results because I am getting results, but it's not this sort of desperate,
That's the
rush.
thing, the desperate rush.
Yeah.
I think that I know that's how it's been for me, and I know that it would be the same for a lot of people. It's like if you've got it's good to have goals, right? So I do that, but I think one of the worst things that I have done in the past is, say I'm going away somewhere and I think, oh, I'm going to lose 20 pounds before I go away.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then it's just hanging over.
And then it has like a reverse psychology type effect on me where I don't do that at all. So I now have to stop myself and say, no, you just keep putting one foot in front of the other and doing what you're doing because, it's working. So that's what I'm doing. And focusing, like you said, on, nutritional food, but not eating a huge amount. Well, and I think it's easier to do in summer too.
Oh, it's easier because salads and things are so much easier, isn't it?
Oh, God, and we've got so much stuff in our garden. It's just ridiculous.
That's great, though.
Oh, yeah, it's so good. But
I think the penny dropped for me this morning when I was getting ready. I just, I know we've talked about this before, and the comparison is the thief of joy. And all of the things we were literally submerging ourselves to when we're watching Instagram or any sort of social media. But I just thought, trying to pluck something out of why I potentially feel different to some of those things that I'm watching is that they're never in a hurry. They are never in life. They're making their rooms in the morning. They're like spraying their spritz on their pillows, and I'm like, where's the rush? Because I'm always rushing, even if I don't feel like I really have something to rush to. I'm always
rushing,
thinking about the next thing. I'm like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And I just thought that, Sarah, is the difference between now I know it's not real life in a way, but that's the difference between what they're doing and what I'm doing. And then I thought through, obviously, our subject for today, and that's the same thing with this changing the way that I'm eating and the weight loss and the health. I'm just about to have because I'm 47, so the NHS over here put you through, I think you've described like one of those medical health check things, just to check where you are. So I'm going to tell you a story about this in a minute. But anyway, so the first thing is to have the blood checks, and then they do everything else. Where was I going with this? But yeah, so it's just a case of all the things that I've been eating, I'm sure will show up well on this health check compared to how I was 12 months ago. Because I genuinely am doing things differently to how I was. Not that I've got that as a comparison because they didn't check me then, but if they had have done, I'm sure it would show up differently. But I think like you described, got to keep going with what you're doing and having faith that it's going to make a difference, but try not to be in such a hurry all the time, because if you want to see it by tomorrow, it's not likely
it's not going to happen.
You're not going to suddenly wake up and see the difference. But that I've just suddenly seen in myself is the difference. I'm always in a hurry, and the things that I'm trying to try and copy that I'm seeing, they're not in a hurry. So that's where this gap is. But maybe there's a bit of learning. Maybe there's that just slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe you can enjoy these things a little bit more. And that's where the prep, like last week, comes in, isn't it? If we slow down a bit, make some time to prep all of these things. Because actually that's the other thing. It does take time. And sometimes you don't have the patience to do that. You're like, oh, I'm not doing that. I haven't got the time.
Or
the next thing.
Or people are just, well, that's the thing, yeah. Or people are just lazy. I don't know. Not saying that you are too, but I think a lot of the time it is time, though. People just feel like they don't have the time.
Got the time. You feel like you don't
have the time.
And I think that's the perception of these things, isn't it? You have got the time, but you tell yourself the story or make the excuse that you haven't for all of the things, whether it's exercise, prepping your food, eating well rather than going for the quick fast food option. You do have the time, particularly if you've prepped things, but it's just whether you fall into the excuse category or the action category. That's the difference. We've spoke about that in the discipline episode. I
find too that we live in a world of immediate results. Like you want something, you buy it, and it's here tomorrow,
Exactly.
And there's so much of that. And I think the same rings true when it comes to losing weight. I mean, I think I've said to you before, I can get off my bike and think, oh God, I should have like these
I should look thinner.
Beautiful, yeah, because I feel it. Should be able to bounce a coin off my butt, and I got, should have these great toned legs because that's how I feel. But just people do. They want immediate results, and diet companies certainly go after that.
Well, they tap into that, don't they?
You think of what it's like in January, or actually it sort of starts in December but really ramps up in January or it's like every diet company there ever was has come out of the woodworks.
With all those New Year's resolutions, isn't it? So they literally jump onto that bandwagon.
Yeah, because they tap into that one, that resolution, but two, people wanting immediate results because they've binged over Christmas. So now they're like feeling, fat and flabby or whatever. Oh, hey, we can make you lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. It just, if you're after that, it's not, okay, so you might be able to do it, but it's not sustainable.
No.
Yeah, and that's what is so important. Like Sarah and I were messaging each other yesterday about how we just sort of both felt a bit down. I had a really bad sleep, and I know that in the has been a trigger for me, as I know it is for a lot of people, just to eat, because I don't know, I think it just leaves you vulnerable or something when you're so tired.
Well, it's a real thing, isn't it? Your body then craves something to give you energy,
right? But how we were, through doing this podcast and going on this, for want of a better word, journey, we were aware of that. So I didn't, so I didn't have a horrible day because of it. Although I did have a couple of drinks last night, but it wasn't a wash like it has been in the past. So I think mentally, people, that's the big thing, because making these emotional changes, being aware of what's happened. It doesn't matter, I've said so many times before, it doesn't matter what diet you go on. If you're not mentally prepared to take this on, that's not going to be sustainable either. So no matter how much you can wish 30, 40, 50 pounds, whatever, off your body, it's not going to happen. You have to mentally get in a place for it. And then it's a day-by-day thing. You've got to have, I hate saying that, you've got to have the patience. But you do. Patience and perseverance.
You do. And, I did a bit of research, and I found there was a study in Ohio. So this is really interesting for me. And they were seeking to understand the psychological mechanisms of patience, basically. So waiting for a larger reward in contrast to that instant gratification. So like you described, I guess, the diets that promise 20 pounds in 2 weeks. But really, is your long-term goal going to be achieved with that? Probably not, because are you going to stick to it for 8 weeks, 20 weeks or whatever? What's going to happen afterwards? So the study in particular looked at the time that it takes to get something compared to how much you get. So what they're looking is that instant quick compared to what you're actually going to be getting at the end of it. And they found that the delays matter. So in general, people are very impatient. So we're not alone. People, as a rule, are very impatient. But this is the really interesting part. And I then started thinking through this a bit more. Is some of this is down to the expected delay. So what they mean is, if something is understood to pay out at the end of a project or a journey or a period of time, then you're more willing to wait than if you're expecting it to be quick. So that means that if the payout is expected quickly and then it's delayed, your impatience is high. So if someone says to you, right, you're going to lose £2 in 10 weeks, that's your expectation. So you have more patience. You're like, okay, my expectation is in 10 weeks it will be gone and I'm willing to wait. If you tell them they're going to lose it in a week and they get to the end of the week and they haven't lost it, their impatience is so high that they then blow it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not really about the reward that you're getting. It's the explanation of how long it's going to take you to do it. And that's why people go for the quick route, because they're not willing to wait for something that they're expecting is to be quick. So I then thought that through and said, so that's what I need to change. My patience is directly linked to my expectation. Do you see what I mean? So if we laid two things out in front of you and said, you can have the bigger thing, but it's okay, it's going to take you a month to get there, you'd be like, oh, but I've got the smaller thing directly in front of me. Shall I go for that smaller thing? If you remove the smaller option and just to tell yourself it's going to take that amount of time, does that make any sense? I think that's where the patience is linked to. So you've got to try and stop telling yourself that it's going to happen quickly or you're going to see a result within a week or 2 weeks. If you tell yourself this is a year-long project, which seems massive, but then break it down into the smaller chunks, that's how your patience is going to start to build, because you'll be more willing to wait for that result because you know it's going to take that amount of time.
Right.
Does that work for you? Or
Yeah. No, yeah, it does. Because I think it's like when I started to learn to drive a manual car.
Yeah.
And if I don't pick something up immediately or see immediate results,
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, screw that. I just can't do this.
Yeah.
And I look at it like that. It was like days of getting up, because I already had my license, so I could drive. But I bought a manual car because I knew that would then make me learn.
Do it.
And so I would get up very early in the morning when I knew nobody was around and go for drives. And it was very hilly where I used to live. This is in Sydney. And I literally had to, I was on my own. I had to do it. And you know, over time, then I would get better and better. And I think of it like that sometimes. You know, you can't, even starting on this, you know, journey, it's not, you're not going to be perfect right out of the gate. Not necessarily. Maybe some people are. I know for us it's sort of been trial and error. And I think that's something too when people are doing this, is to understand just if you stumble, that's okay too,
Just
you know. Just get up, just keep going. That's the thing, is to keep going, to keep at it.
It's like the Japanese phrase, isn't it? You fall down 7 times, you stand up 8.
Right.
Because you've just got to keep getting back up again, and that's the thing.
Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of look at it that way. It just doesn't come to you in one foul swoop. It happens over a period of time.
Around that, and you understand that this is something which is going to take me a period of time, and I'm not going to be perfect. I'm going to learn. I'm going to fall. I'm going to get up again. It's going to take me a long time probably to get to what I want, but what a great result I'm going to get at the end of it. So the patience comes from the calmness of understanding that is what's going to happen,
and to lower the expectation a bit.
What you can do is almost put these little small targets, like we've said, that
yes,
gives you the little target rewards as you go that you can then chip away. And as I described before, I only now chase the next pound. I never now, because of what you described before, and I've done it millions of times. We've talked about this before, just you and I, you know, on our own. Exactly that. Right, I need to be 14 pounds lighter before such and such event. And realistically, it was an unrealistic goal, because was I really going to lose 14 pounds in 5 weeks? Probably not. And then all you do is set yourself up for disappointment because you haven't got it. So if my expectation is over the next year, I'm going to get fit, get healthy, and lose weight, that's the expectation. That is my goal. That is what I'm working towards. I'm like, okay, I have to have patience to do that, because a year is a long time. You know, this is not going to suddenly wake up tomorrow and it's going to be gone. But I would like to see some sort of results that I could celebrate. So all I do is chase the next pound. So I get to the next number and go, right, next one.
And you've broken it down into
I don't set a
increments.
Time scale with how long that's going to be. It's just that's what I'm chasing for. So that's the way I now do it.
Right. Well, that's good. And then, you know, because then that 1 pound loss can then bolster your how you feel about the whole thing, and then you want to keep going and see the next pound gone.
Well, I think psychologically, instead of it being numbers that I'm adding, as in, so currently I'm just about to hit 12 pounds lost.
Awesome.
But instead of adding it up like that, I'm chipping it off and go, that's another pound I've got rid of.
Right.
That's another pound. So that's the way that I'm now viewing it, because actually by trying to add up all of the number of pounds that I want to get rid of, that's a massive number of pounds to get rid of. And it's suddenly, but all I've done is accepted that it's going to take me a year or longer, I don't know, to get that. But in the meantime, I'm getting healthier. I'm really looking after my body. I'm learning every single day because of what we're doing with the podcast and the research and everything. And that's forcing me to be more patient. But I'm enjoying the reward of this chipping another one off, another one off, and another one off. So I think that's how I've done it. It's not for everybody. But instead of adding my numbers up, I'm chipping them down, if that makes sense.
Well, and that's where that whole emotional thing comes into it too, because, and you know, you're realizing how you used to be and then changing it up to something that's more sustainable. And I think
completely
that
how I've
is
ever done
so
it.
different.
Yeah.
Is the sustainability, because that is, I guarantee that's probably 98% of people's downfall is choosing something that's not sustainable and going into it with the wrong attitude too. And I've said that many times. You go into something thinking, this is too hard. You know, harping back to the car thing. It was the same for me. I'm like, oh my God, this is so hard because I just am so impatient. That's why it's hard.
Yeah.
But in doing the repeat over, and you do, obviously that's what repeat means, but you do that over and over, eventually it becomes less hard and more of just something that happens automatically, which is what we're now slipping into, is that things are becoming more habitual a bit.
It's a lesson that we can apply to the whole of our life,
right?
Because I am genuinely a very impatient person. I'm
right.
bit hot-headed, I'm like, I want it yesterday, and if someone hasn't done it, why not?
Right.
And I had a bit of reflection. So this morning, the blood tests that I was talking about a while ago, I knew I had to go for them. I set off, but just before I set off, something said to me, just check where you're going, because there's 2 places I could have to go and get this done. And in my head, I thought it was one place which is 15 minutes away, and as I checked, it wasn't. It was the other one, which is about 20 to 25 minutes away. I was like, bloody hell, I'm never going to make it. So I got there and I was 5 minutes late. So I go in, and as I go in, there's nowhere to park, number one. So it took me about another 5 minutes to park. I was like, of course it does, because I'm already 5 minutes late.
Right.
And then when I got into the surgery, there was nobody on the reception desk because they were busy serving someone else. So I stood there and I stood there. Over 5 minutes I stood waiting to get checked in. When she eventually comes back, she says, oh, well, you're 15 minutes late. I said, well, I wasn't 15 minutes late. I was 5 minutes late when I got here, but now I'm 15 minutes late because of all of the other situations that have happened. She says, oh, sorry, they can't see you now. So I'd driven over 10 miles to get to this place, of which I was 5 minutes late for my appointment, which I totally was my fault, because I basically thought I was going to the wrong place. But you know what? I'm always in a hurry, so I'd already cut it too fine.
Yeah,
another lesson learned. If I'd added an extra 10 minutes onto my allowance time, it wouldn't have been like that. But anyway, they wouldn't see me. And so they said, come back tomorrow. So back in my car and then drive back, and I was fuming. I was so impatient. I was like, really? The person that filled my gap, surely I could take their appointment. You know, where they
right.
Forward. I was like, sure. And then I've just thought, but do you know what? That's because my expectation was that you would sort out the problem.
Right.
And actually, my impatience has been built from the fact that I expected them to sort out the problem. If I remove the expectation that they're going to sort it out and just go, well, I was 5 minutes late, all right, a catalogue of things happened that meant I was even later. But at the end of the day, they're not going to see me today, so I've got to go back tomorrow. And I know that's a little bit calm, but the point is, I suppose I'd put the expectation on them that they would then just sort out the issue.
Right.
But that's my problem, not their problem.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So in the same process, yes, I'm impatient. Yes, I thought, why on earth didn't you just shove me in at the end or move over, all of these
things. Everybody else.
Which would make sense. I still think that would have made sense. But anyway, but I think if you apply what we were just talking about, what we've learned to that, that expectation, removing that, changing things about it, just understand that actually sometimes things are going to sabotage you, but you've just got to, reset and get on. We can apply that to anything in life. And I think it's a really useful tool, because I think you're probably going to get a lot less stress in your life. You're certainly going to be far less impatient. And if you can apply what we're learning, then I think you're going to get more results. And it's not something that comes immediately to mind in those situations, because I'm a bit hot-headed and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
I mean, I didn't get grumpy, but I don't know, what would you think? Would you get...
No, I think just hearing you say that, it comes down to what we were saying before about your thoughts and beliefs. To do this, they need to change. So that's the same thing that you were just talking about, that you had to then change that thought pattern.
Yeah.
Because, permanent weight loss requires like a an inner change, and
complete rewiring
oh
almost.
yeah, and then then you have to obviously have the perseverance to change those negative thoughts too. It's not just the perseverance to stick to your goal, but the perseverance to keep, how can I put this? Just to keep changing that voice, that one that says to you, this is too hard, or you can't do it, or this is happening too slowly, or whatever. It's just, constantly switching that off.
Yeah.
That obviously has to happen.
I think it is that too slowly thing, isn't it? We all, like you said, I mean, as a society now, we watch things which are 3 seconds long and then we move on to the next thing. And it's that I'm like it. If anything takes too long, I'm like, no, too slow, move on.
Right.
And because that's how we've been wired for. So that's the expectation. So I think we've got to be fair to ourselves that actually this is how we've rewired our brains as a whole society now, to expect things to be quick. And if it takes a long time, is it worth it? So maybe that's part of it as well. You've got to think, as they were describing in this study, you've got to look at what's worth it in the longer term, as opposed to the shorter fix, which might seem like a result, but it's never going to serve you long term, is it? To get that quick thing now. But it's quite a hard thing to start to rewire and to think about, because that's just not what we're exposed to now. Like you said, you order from Amazon and you get it the next day.
Sometimes on the day, if you
my
live
son,
close to a hub.
not so much now, but he would actively choose something because of how quickly it was going to come, rather than the thing that he actually wanted. So when he was a bit younger, and it's really hard to manage with young people, like, well, that's going to take a week. You think, well, a week's really not very long. Well, I can get that one tomorrow. I know it's not what I really wanted, but I'll go with that. And that's the constant conversations we've got to have with ourselves, is what do we really want?
Right.
And it is worth the patience of waiting a little longer for it, even though it feels really difficult to manage that struggle in your head right now. So manage your expectations. If you tell yourself it's going to be a week, okay.
That's that small sacrifice. We were talking about the small sacrifices that you have to make along this, path to reach that final goal.
Yeah.
This is something that I wrote down, that we all feel disappointed and demoralized at times. When that happens, you need to invite patience and perseverance to accompany you on this journey. And think of these qualities as your inner guides, reminding you to trust yourself, encouraging you to stay the course, and whispering in your ear that same thing as well. That all is well, you've got this, just stay the course, keep just one day at a time, basically. Because changing behaviours does take time, because that's what it is. It's a change in behaviour. And if anybody knows anything about routine, it obviously, just because you've decided you want something to happen doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Or the action that goes with it.
It happens over time. So for a month, even just a little daily progress, if you can see that, it will develop. But it takes a long time to make that habit permanent, because this is what it will develop into. A new lifestyle pattern then becomes a habit. Like you were saying, you focus more on your health and eating better, and then that is becoming more of habitual for you. Yeah. And you faltered, like you said, you had a bad day a couple of days ago, but then you just keep thinking no, because you persevere with it. And
I think that's the other thing, isn't it? To have the patience to understand that even if there's a day where you haven't done exactly the way, or eaten or exercised or live exactly the way that you wanted it to be, that because this is a longer term change to your lifestyle, that you can just go, okay, I'm going to write that one off. I'm just going to keep going back into the way that I wanted to do things. Whereas before, because you're on such a tight program, if you've only got 30 days to do something, one day out of it is a massive impact, isn't it? You're
right.
Like, well, I'm going to, I've got to have thrown it all away. One day out of 365 days, for example, is nowhere near the impact. So if you can manage your expectations and your patience, and then have the skills that we've talked about instantly resetting, whether it's even within the same day, getting hold of yourself and go, oh no, stop it, keep doing the things that I've been doing before, which are definitely impacting my life. That will build, won't it? That will build the learning of patience, and you're going to get something for what you're willing to wait for, and all of those things. Because I think it's the difference between blowing it all out when something hasn't gone right, as opposed to just resetting straight away.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to give all your power away focusing on the setbacks, because I think that's what we do. We give so much power to the things that aren't going to generate the goal, the result we want. And, when you think about something too much, it suddenly becomes bigger and bigger. So just don't give your power away to that. If you, feel like you haven't had a great day, so what? Just make it better and move on. And that's where the perseverance and the patience comes into it.
Do you think obsessing over something, and I know you've said before that you can feel like a bit obsessed by things with regards to weight loss, do you think that makes it more makes us more impatient? Because when it's all that you've got, you're just like, well, come on then, I want to see it. Whereas if you can try and relax into the changes that you're making, maybe that brings some patience with it as well, because you are more relaxed in the approach. Do you think?
Yes. I think the more you obsess about anything, the bigger and harder it seems. That could be, a work issue. It could be a relationship issue. Definitely with this. And with losing weight, I obsess about it. I'll admit it to the point where it's completely detrimental. It
creates frustration.
Yeah. And that's just like, come on already. Like, just do it.
Yeah.
I had said to Sarah when we were messaging yesterday that I just felt kind of blah all week because, we're sort of at the halfway through the year point, and I think, oh, good grief. I could have been this, I should have done that. Why aren't I here doing this? You know what I mean? Like, just that whole list of things that shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? Instead of thinking, and that just had such a big impact on me. It was like, I felt like just throwing everything away. Not so much the dieting, for want of a better word, the losing weight, but more to do, I guess, with my business. But it was an all-encompassing thing.
And
I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to just screw my business. I'm just going to get a job doing something I don't care, whatever. And why can this person do it and not me? And just all of that just came flooding. And maybe because we're at the halfway point of the year. And I just gave myself a day just to, wallow a little bit and be impatient and think that I could have done this or I should have done that, and then regrouped and had to remind myself of, okay, well, I don't know exactly where I'm up to, maybe like 16 pounds or something like that. I don't know where I am. You've done that. You've decided this, you're working towards it, like staying the course, for fuck's sake, Like, I always throw my hands up in the air and go, this isn't working, I'm not where I want to be, obviously.
And then you throw the baby out with the bathwater.
My mother used to say that, yeah. And that's exactly what I do. And then I think, okay, well, then this will make it happen, and off I go. And you basically, when you do that, you have to start all over again.
Yeah.
And it's just such a, oh my gosh, it's such a it sabotages everything, thinking like that.
Just hearing when you're talking about that, though, is, for me, I can hear what that really boils down to is a lack of
desperation.
Well, desperation, but it's confidence, and everyone has that. But you know what? There's that whole. I'm just trying to think about me as well. I'd be like, well, I don't have confidence in myself, so I'm for example, what you were just describing there, I'm not good at my job, so that's not going to work. Or, well, clearly I haven't lost enough weight, so really I'm not doing it very well, am I?
Right.
Or, I'm not doing anything like these other people are doing on social media, so obviously I'm not doing it as well. So all of those things, which are the comparison, even if you're comparing yourself to yourself, it doesn't even have to be comparing yourself to somebody else, because you're giving yourself a hard time.
Or comparing yourself to the person that you want to be.
You want to be,
yeah.
Exactly. But it comes down to a confidence thing. So if you then literally turned that on its head, that said, like you then just described, look at what I have been achieving, and I'm working to this, because I'm not even a quarter of a way down the journey that I want to get to, because the expectation is that because you've set this time limit, well, I'm halfway, so I should be here by now, or I should be there by now. Remove the expectation of the halfway thing, and all of a sudden it doesn't matter as much, does it? Because actually what you have achieved is part of the longer journey that you're doing. So it's only because you then said, well, I'm halfway through the year and I feel like I have only, and you put the word only in front of all of those things.
Right.
So I think that's the crux of this, is the confidence in what you're doing, of which, if you can just flip it around and see what you have achieved and what you are still achieving because you're working towards this destiny in front of you, and then remove the expectation, which is the thing that we've just learned about, the fact that gives you the gratification. To remove that expectation of when it's going to be given to you or succeeded by, then it's a completely different story, isn't it? I mean, it's going to happen. Everyone has these days.
Right.
That's totally understandable. But I think those are the sort of the takeaway points I'm just heard from what you were just describing. I'm like, isn't it interesting? If you remove a couple of those points out of that story, it's a completely different mindset.
Right. And it's also truth, like being completely honest with yourself, because even though, yes, I was trying, was I really? You know what I mean? Like up until that point, like how much did you actually put into what was the effort versus the outcome? And I think that's where you have to get, like, the truth will set you free. You have to be really honest with yourself too, which sometimes is very uncomfortable, but you have to. How much effort in the first 6 months of the year did I really, truly put into this whole big goal that I have?
Yeah.
Versus what I wanted.
But be careful, because I agree. But I think be careful, because if you suddenly make it into it's got to be this humongous effort at all times, that's what then shortens this expectation goal setting period.
Right.
And a bit like the whole weight loss program that's supposed to happen within 4 weeks, because all right, you could be honest with yourself and said, I really haven't tried in 6 months, but you have, because you've done all of the clearing of your house, which was, the research that's even gone into our podcast. You are eating different. You've lost 16 pounds. That doesn't happen by accident.
Right.
Included in that, you've had a major trip to the UK and, a family wedding to go to, which are, big of a week travelling. So these are big things. To
my super cold that I had.
Yeah, and you felt really poorly. So I think, be careful about that conversation you have with yourself. Yes, there's some value to having this honest chat and going, have I really tried? But sometimes some gentle effort, but over a long period of time, is also enough. You don't have to go at it 100 miles an hour all of the time, because is that sustainable? That's where our impatience comes in.
Right.
Well, I haven't really been doing it if I haven't been cycling 10 miles every day, only eating this, and this, and then getting 9 hours of sleep. Well, you have, because as long as you've improved a little bit from where you were a month ago, then you've definitely been doing it. The things you've learned, that you managed to travel for a week, you've come back, and over a 2-week period, you've still lost over a pound of fat off your body, whereas probably 12, 24 months ago, you've come back 7 pounds heavier.
Right.
So it's just be a little bit careful about how you paint that picture for yourself, because I do understand there is that honest chat.
Yeah.
There is, because if you're really, really, really not doing it, but you're telling yourself you are, then that's pointless as well.
Right.
There's no point lying to
Yeah, I'm on a
yourself
diet as you're eating chips, you know.
as you're eating a big pint pot of ice cream
Yeah.
every day. It's all right
Yeah.
every now and then, but every day you're never going to make it, are you?
Right.
So I think it's honesty, but with a pinch of gentleness with it to go as well, because I think...
Oh, I'm so not gentle with myself, but you know
you're
that.
not, but then, you know, that's what we're just trying to describe is patience is going to come from setting your expectations differently, because your
thoughtful goals
was you were going to be nearly halfway there within 6 months of
this
year.
Thoughtful goals rather than unattainable goals to set for yourself.
Yeah, and I do use the word with myself, gentle, I suppose. Just a pound, a pound, just get it off. And actually, if anyone said to you, all you've got to lose is a pound, you're like, okay. And that's the way that I'm just, as I say, just chipping. But and so then, if someone said to you over 6 months you've only lost a pound, you'd be like, okay, maybe you do have a chat. Have I really been doing it? But have you lost a pound and you're now exercising and you're now eating differently and you've changed your mindset?
Yeah, so you have to look at all the other things.
Yeah, the whole package.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, your behaviour but you know, it's the whole wishing thing. We all have that, right? Wishing that you'd either done things differently or wishing that it had just miraculously happened.
You wake up tomorrow and you're suddenly all gone.
Yeah, but anyway.
But I wonder if you did that, would life be any... I mean, clearly it would.
Yes.
But don't get me wrong. But I wonder if what would happen, because if you've then still got to apply all of the learning to make sure that your life stays different anyway.
Right. That's the... Yeah.
It would all be gone, and then you'd start
back
gaining
again.
weight again.
Yeah, being realistic. And for anybody that is thinking of embarking on this journey, it has to be something that works for you. And this is something that's taken me a while to understand, is that you see someone has done it, and you know, I don't know, there's so many of those, drink 2 shakes and eat 1 meal, and you too can, you know, lose 200 pounds or whatever, you know. And you think, oh, yeah, okay, I want to do that because I want to lose weight. I want to lose it fast.
Instant gratification.
Yes. But, 1, it's not realistic. And 2, it's not going to work for me. I can't do that. But, 1, because I love food. But 2, for my work. Yeah. So whatever it is has to be achievable. It has to be sustainable.
Yeah.
And it has to just, you know, work for you. I find intermittent fasting something that works for me.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people it might not. But that wasn't something that happened overnight. That was a gradual thing.
Yeah.
And some days, you know, like today where I've got a friend coming in, it won't happen. But it's just looking at what's going to work for the individual.
Life isn't a straight path, is it?
No.
I mean, it's not just you look ahead and you can see exactly where it is you're going. It's going to have twists and turns, and you've got to make it work for you. And I think there's something with regards to emulating, like we've said before, someone that's doing something really well, learn all the great behaviours from them, but then make it work in your own life. So it's not a case of thinking that the shakes and 1 meal a day is going to work. It probably would, truthfully, if you really, really structure it, of course it would. But then what's going to happen afterwards, all of these things. But you can pick out some of the things that other people are doing and make it work for you, but understand you're still probably going to come across barriers and trip hazards and all of these things as you work your way through, because it's not going to be that's it, that's done, I'm sorted, that's me, you know, sorted for the rest of my life. So I think you've got to think about that as well when you're making these decisions for yourself, is stretch yourself, emulate other people, but turn your life into what you want it to be to get to the result that you want it to be. That's the grasp of it, isn't it? If you can actually get a grasp of your own life.
Well, and keep feeding your resolve too, you know.
Yeah.
Like the reasons why you want to do this, and that they're healthy apart, and just really keep at it.
So what are you going to do then? So we've just talked about patience for the last whatever.
Oh, yeah. What am I going to do to be more patient?
How are you going to do that?
Instead of focusing on the weight so much, it's more going to be focusing on healthy habits, I think. Yeah. That's the trick. So eating healthfully, maintaining constant physical activity, managing the stresses, as you know, we've talked about this, the whole emotional eating, and if you suddenly feel like that, understanding why it's happening, sleeping well, which you know is easier said than done, but you know, at least attempting to do that, and then not throwing it all away if 1 week I don't have the desired, you know, goal
I think
for
all
that
the things
week.
You've just described there are things that you know, but what you've got is how you're not going to be. So you've got to manage your expectations to create this patience for you to get there, isn't it? Because you know all of those things, but you've still always known all of those things. So it's just what's that difference that's going to... The
difference is just like focusing on those habits.
Rather than
the numbers. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's my thing. So if I feel like I said that there's nothing really in the house, although I can whip up anything. Yeah. So, you know, I could go and make myself a chocolate fudge cake right now if I wanted to. I have all the ingredients. But it's just, you know, focusing on that. How will this make me feel? You know, just a healthy aspect of it. Just what I put in my mouth and the keep moving. And that could be anything from like 15 minutes one day to an hour the next. As I said, when I go and work out, I don't usually decide on, okay, I'm going to go and do this for 30 minutes because I found that's detrimental to I keep looking, oh God, 5 minutes has passed. So I just go in and go, I'm just going to go and work out and keep at it. And they're the days that I find that I do more. But anyway, so I'm just going to focus on the positive things rather than...
So that's then going to... you feel going to allow you to be more patient with regards to getting a result. Yeah.
And to understand that I am impatient. And to accept that.
So is everybody. So that's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
and that
everybody is.
Yeah. So when I have those moments of like, oh gosh, I just want to fit back into my clothes or, you know, whatever it is. I just, you know, want my Aussie body back, or I just have to learn to deal with that level of impatience and focus on better habits. That's really what it boils down to. Try not to let it push
you into what would seem like an extreme or a quick resolve, because it's going to, as you described, going to completely undo all of the habits that you've already been creating. Yeah,
take it slow. And to look beyond the food too, as I think we get so fixated on what we're putting in our mouth. And it's good to be aware of it, but not to be fixated on it.
It's not the be all and end all.
Sorry, that was my Siri. Did you hear that?
Little Ramsey.
No, that was my Siri on my
Oh, was it? I thought it was your dog.
No, Ramsey's sound asleep today. He's been a good guy. Yeah. So anyway, so what about you? Like, what are you going to do with your impatience, Sarah? Because it's always going to be there, right? You are an Aries, so it's always going to be there.
The best, obviously. I'm going to try and do like I did today with that scenario as I was driving away, thinking, for God's sake, why didn't you just see me, and, you know, all of that sort of stuff. It's just to manage my expectations around these things. So instead of having an expectation that tomorrow I'm going to wake up looking loads thinner, or I'm suddenly going to have lost 14 pounds in a month, whatever, it's just... that's the thing that I'm going to try and get a manage of, because my impatience is generally born out of my expectation. If someone doesn't do something in the way that I expect them to do it, I'm so impatient about the whole thing. So I'm like, well, why haven't you? But what I have to remember is that the only thing that ever set that criteria was me. And right. So that's the bit that I'm going to get the handle on.
So lower your expectations?
Well, just... yeah, I guess so.
Right.
Or remove the expectation that someone else is going to do something.
And be realistic.
focus on my own goals and habits and changes.
Right.
And then that will then help me manage to be not so impatient with the people that are around me, hopefully, if they're not doing the same thing, because that's my expectation, not theirs. And I think for me, that's the bit I'm going to try and get a grasp on a bit more, is trying to stop projecting my expectations on other people.
And also, to stop, and I'm not saying you do this, but I know that there's lots of us that do, stop comparing yourself to other people. So somebody's lost, 60 pounds, 35 kilos or whatever, and you can't compare yourself to that person. They don't have the same life as you. So that's a hard thing to do, is just to
I would also
switch that
challenge
off.
you, and I'm doing this myself, is we need to stop comparing ourselves to our previous
right
as well.
Oh yeah,
because it's 2023. We are where we are.
Yeah.
And we are now with the age, we're never going to be younger than we are again now than we are now. And so this is the age that we are. This is the lifestyle that we've got. It's realistically not going to be the same as we were 25 years ago.
No.
However, what we want to be is the best version of me, that I can possibly be right now. And that's what I'm working towards.
Right.
So stop flicking through, which I've done many, many times, the pictures of myself from 20 years ago, going,
right.
Oh, look at me there, or look at this. Even 5 years ago, because I've been up and down, up and down. It's irrelevant.
It is. They are good for me. They have been good motivators. But no, I totally get what you're saying.
I think it feeds into our impatience, because it feeds into that. But I want to be that again. Okay. But actually, if you turn the thought around into just the best version that we're going to be now,
right?
We know we can, because we have been it before. That's fine. But with that comparison, which is all right, comparing ourselves to other people's weight loss, etc. There's also that as well.
The
and I think,
unrealistic expectation then comes into
whether it's realistic or not, I don't know. But what it's not doing is serving you anything.
No.
I don't think. And it may well be that we are going to be exactly like that again.
Right.
Because that may well be my fittest version of me now. I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like, because my joints are different. My age is different. I've been through the menopause. All these things are going to have such an impact on me compared to I was 20 years ago.
Focusing on the here and now.
Yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
you're saying. Yeah.
And I think that then also removes that negative talk to yourself, and
how did I let myself get like this?
Why am I not like that again? And I think so I would give that out into the conversation as well, as yes, there's the comparing yourself to others, but stop comparing yourself
to the old. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So Sarah, what's cooking for you this week?
I haven't really thought too much about recipes, but what I would like to do is pick up on my juicing again, because I bought a juicer because you.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Don't remember
I didn't know that you bought one.
Oh no, I did. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's do it again. I'll do it with you.
I haven't touched it since last summer.
I have to do it first thing in the morning, because if I don't do it first thing in the morning, what I do when I'm really diligent about it is I get my veggies ready the night before, and I just put them in a bowl in the fridge, so they're cut ready, bang, to throw in the juicer. And I mean, really, start to finish, it takes 10 minutes or less. It's more the thought of it. But if you do that, I'll do it with you.
Okay.
Because oh my god, we've got so much celery and carrots and
just to be clear, I'm not doing a juicing diet or anything.
No.
I'm just
it's just adding to
exactly, just to make
more nutrients.
It's not some sort of stick I'm only going to juice. So so that's what I would like to do. I haven't really thought about recipes, but I would like to do that this week. Is get my juicer back out the cupboard, get some really lovely fresh ingredients, and I'm going to do that again and just start to add, because it's summer, so now's a nice time to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Well, we'll do it together. And in my crazy day that I've got, I'm going to start doing it today.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've got
as well,
everything in there that I can throw into it. Yeah, definitely going to do that.
Do you want to pop a because you'll be better at it than me, like a little recipe, like a juicing?
Oh yeah, I've got a few of them.
Stories.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll make a post-it note of that.
Post it to yourself.
And yeah, Got my
Yeah,
little
so if you
fancy post-it notes.
Oh, they are fancy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'll put a
if you
few
pop
up.
something out, give people a few inspirations for what they could do.
Juicing recipes. Okay. I might, in my spare time, put some on the website too. Or at least a thing that links them all back to Fresh
where
Hot
you can go and find it.
Yeah, because there's a few. There's like, the beet one.
I love beetroot in mine.
You do? So,
Yeah.
it's like drinking sweet dirt.
I do. I like it.
But it's so good with the antioxidants. Yeah.
I just love beetroot, full stop. So yeah.
So that's it. That's are you cooking anything?
I haven't. Well, I will be.
Okay.
I've still been cooking lots of not vegetarian as such, but I made
vegetable
tagine a couple of nights ago, which was delicious.
Oh, you had mentioned that you were doing that.
Yeah, and I've got some extra, so that's then gone in the freezer. So a bit of batch cooking as such. I just made double the amount, so I've got a couple more portions left. Haven't really planned. I need to sit and make a bit of a food list plan for the next sort of few days, really, but I haven't planned on anything.
I did that last night. Well, everything that I was going to make this last week, I haven't made because of all the stuff in our garden, and I didn't focus it around that. So I'm gonna put this up in my stories. I made a zucchini tart. That was really good. But I'm going to do because we've got a whole lot of broccoli too. I'm going to make like a breakfast cheddar. Like a broccoli breakfast cheddar thing with some puff. I don't know if it's going to work with some puff pastry and cheese and broccoli and various things like that.
So like a savoury breakfast.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm also, because we have so many beans, it's insane. And even giving them away, we've still got so many beans. I want to you blanch the beans and then you put them in a pan with some garlic and salt and pepper and maybe a little, olive oil or butter or something. But then have a tomato sauce, because I put that tomato sauce recipe that I made, the batch cooking one, have that over them with some garlic breadcrumbs. I took all the bits of my sourdough and my whole grain bread that I had in the freezer, all the little bits, and whizzed them up in the food processor last night. And so I'll use that to make some
like a
crunchy top. Yeah. And then we've got lots and lots of jalapenos, which I love. So I want to make like a drip jam, not a hard set jam, because I'm not going to put sugar in. I'm going to do my monk fruit sugar and put that in, just to put on. Well, you can put it with anything.
Yeah, nice.
You could put it on sandwiches, have it with, some grilled meat. My friend Candice is coming to stay. I pick her up from the airport tonight, and she's pretty much into healthy eating. So I'm going to do like a caprese salad while she's here. I'm going to make a whole lot of pesto because the basil's just gone crazy. And because I'm sure there's lots of people that know this, and I have seen where people freeze pesto in ice cube trays.
Yes.
But I I made a whole lot and froze it in just little containers. Oh my God, it was still really green when I thawed it out, which I was amazed by. And it was so delicious. And I was like, how have I spent this time, especially cooking, and never had done that before?
Yeah.
So I want to do that too. So just some things like that. I've got a salmon recipe. I've got loads of peaches because I get a delivery every week of peaches. So I want to try like maybe a peach cobbler or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So this recipe, and it's super simple, but it was something that appeals to me. I like things like this where you just pan fry a chicken breast, maybe pound it out a little to get it, all in one thickness. Pan fry it, some garlic, salt and pepper, maybe some lemon pepper seasoning, I don't know. But you do like a wine and lemon juice sauce, maybe a little stock in there, and reduce that down. That with some the cannellini beans, whiz that up, like almost like that would be your mash, like mashed potatoes, but it's beans. Have that, and then with some of the beans that I was saying about with the tomato beans that I'm going to do. Yeah.
Do you know what I would try? I make stuff up all the time. But as you were describing the chicken, you know, like pan fry it like that, then I thought you were going to go on to peaches, but then almost do almost like a peach sort of compote on the top with
that sounds
with your
good.
breadcrumbs.
Oh yeah, right.
So almost like a schnitzel, but not.
Right,
so then
right.
the chicken with the peach and then the breadcrumbs on the top.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be delicious.
Like almost like a peach chutney type thing.
Yeah, that's it.
That's how I need to make a peach chutney.
And then a lovely fresh salad on the side. That's
really
nice.
Yeah, that would be good too. So yeah, that's what I'm cooking.
Sounds good to me.
Does sound good.
And what about your goals for next week?
Well, as it pertains to this episode, I am going to be patient and just persevere. I know it's easier said than done, but look at it more as, you know, like what we've talked about. Yeah. It's it's a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
And viewing it more as that rather than that whole pressure of the numbers.
It's a health lifestyle with weight loss as a result,
right?
Rather than a weight loss like train.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so, just I think in removing that pressure, we'll see what that happens. I'm gonna try that over this whole the coming week and just see what a difference that makes. What about you? What's your goal? Or you can have more than one.
Yeah, I've got two things. So I think what I'm going to do is look at my week and then set up some really mini targets for myself so that I can celebrate them as I meet them. So it's not part of the really big overall sort of journey that I'm doing, but my expectation of, particularly with my movement that I'm trying to work on because I have such poor movement after my hip and with the other hip, sometimes I get really hard on myself, like I can't do a lot of things and I want to be able to do them. So what I'm going to do is try and break that down into really tiny things that even just one day I can make an improvement on, one to the next, and then I can be more patient with what I can or can't do, because I get really impatient with myself that I can't do some of the things. So I thought about, so what I'm going to do is spend just 10 minutes and set up myself some really mini targets for the whole week, so then when I can do them I can tick them off and get some achievements for those. And I'm going to spend a bit of time refocusing on a routine that's a bit more targeted to actually getting some of these little mini results done. So instead of just my normal routine of a day, which I think I've let slip a little bit anyway, once I've set these mini targets, I'm going to create myself a routine for that day and that week that means that they're going to be easier to achieve, if that makes sense.
And juicing's going to be in that routine.
Juicing's in it too, yeah. I'm going to get it out this afternoon and get ready, because that was the one thing that suddenly struck me. It's like I've not done that for ages and I really fancy doing it, so that will be part of that routine.
If you can do that and if you can consistently do it for at least 2 weeks, you will notice the difference in how you feel.
Really?
Yeah, it does make a difference. And for me, and I think I've said this to you before, about 10 minutes after I notice, I suddenly, it's like someone's supercharging me. And I think it's because I have quite a bit when I do it, and I think it's just hydrating myself too. Plus, you're getting that rush of nutrients. It's good for your gut health as
well. Like on we talked about in the gut health episode, surely it's got to be good for that.
Yeah, because you've got, as long as, it's not all fruit things. I do.
Yeah, sugar. Yeah.
The basis of mine is usually celery, carrots, cucumber, which, really doesn't have a lot of nutritional value.
It's got water.
But it's got water. And a lemon, and usually spinach. So they're, 5 things that are normally in there. And then I might add like an orange or an apple just so it's a bit nicer. But I mean, people, you can put pineapple in it, but just then remember that pineapple's very high in natural sugars.
Yeah.
So then you counterbalance that with things, like celery and spinach. Celery has a very strong flavour, so if people are starting off on this, they might, even tomatoes are good. if
Yeah.
people can stomach tomatoes.
Anything.
But carrots, give you the sweetness. Of course, there's beetroot, which is always interesting. But yeah, so that definitely will help your gut too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's added into my routine then for the week.
So next week's episode is titled "The Mental Load in the Empty Cup," which I thought sounded a little bit like a band name.
Perhaps we could add that to our target.
Right. Right. Yeah. Good luck with that. But the episode is about the givers of this world, which are often women, usually don't take time to replenish and restore themselves so that they have something to give. They're left with little to no time to see to their own needs, that they're met, or have time to build up their reserves. Essentially, they're giving from an empty cup. As always, thank you for listening. Please send us a message if there's something you'd like to hear us chat about. Visit lovoniandsarah.com to subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss an episode. You'll also find links to connect with us on social media. Remember, with patience and perseverance, it's not that you won't feel discouraged. It's that you might feel discouraged at times but still keep moving forward in spite of this. Permanent weight loss takes time, people. With patience, you can transform yourself. Bye for now.
Bye.